The International Olympic Committee has lifted its suspension of Russia tied to the invasion of Ukraine, clearing the way for Russian athletes to compete at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The I.O.C. announced the move on Tuesday, describing it as provisional and subject to Russia's future conduct. The committee said it has not yet decided whether the Russian flag or national anthem will be permitted at the Games. Even so, the decision marks a major step toward bringing Russian athletes back into international competition after years on the sidelines. Much of the debate centered on the Russian Olympic Committee's past claims over sports organizations in Ukrainian territory. The I.O.C's executive board said that after a thorough legal review, it accepted that the Russian committee no longer considers those regional Ukrainian sports bodies as its own, and would refrain from doing so going forward. When the suspension was first imposed in 2023, Russia had pushed back, asking why similar action wasn't taken after it annexed Crimea in 2014. Former I.O.C. President Thomas Bach said at the time that the committee never recognized the Crimean annexation but also hadn't raised objections to the nationality of athletes competing in Rio in 2016. Russia's sports minister, Mikhail Degtyarev, welcomed the decision, saying it shows Russia is back at the negotiating table, and vowed to keep pushing to restore full rights for Russian athletes. The I.O.C. emphasized that any returning Russian athletes will need to meet strict anti-doping requirements overseen by international authorities, citing continued distrust in Russia's own oversight system. The reversal follows an I.O.C. meeting in Milan earlier this year, where members signaled openness to welcoming Russia back despite the ongoing war. Russia's suspension had stood as a rebuke of its 2022 invasion, though a limited number of Russian athletes not affiliated with the military were still allowed to compete as neutral athletes at the 2024 Summer Games and the 2026 Winter Games. Ukraine's foreign ministry sharply criticized the ruling, calling it a deeply concerning signal and urging host nations of international sporting events to bar Russian symbols. Ukraine said it would keep working with other countries on the issue going forward. That's the latest on this developing story.